I want a divorce. Elena's fork crashes against her bone china plate like a gunshot shattering the silence of their anniversary dinner. Jake's wine glass slips from his frozen fingers, Malbec spreading across their white linen tablecloth like blood from a fatal wound. Their 12th anniversary dinner, destroyed in 4 words. The man who saves marriages for a living just lost his own. Jake Morrison, Portland's most famous marriage counselor, stares at his wife across their mahogany dining room table where 47 couples have signed his therapy contracts this year alone. 47 marriages saved through his revolutionary communication methods. His own, dead in the water. The irony is absolutely devastating. The relationship whisperer, who has 2 million TED Talk views on emotional intimacy, can't whisper to his own wife. Elena and Jake exchange exactly 47 words per day. He counted last week in his professional journal, tracking their decline with clinical precision. "Jake, did you hear me?" Elena's voice cracks like autumn leaves underfoot. Her tears fall onto the divorce papers hidden in her black Prada purse. Papers she's carried for 3 agonizing days, waiting for the courage to speak the words that would detonate their perfect life. "Mia asked me yesterday why Mommy and Daddy don't laugh anymore. Sophie told her best friend Emma that we're like roommates who split bills and nothing else. Their teenage daughters upstairs, Mia, 16, and Sophie, 14, homework spread across their matching white desks, have absolutely no idea their seemingly perfect family is about to explode into a million irreparable pieces, the brutal mathematics of their marriage failure. For 380 dinners eaten in complete silence over the past year. 2,190 nights sleeping exactly 18 inches apart in their king-size bed, close enough to feel each other's body heat, but emotionally worlds apart. $144,000 earned helping other couples find their voices, while theirs slowly suffocated in polite pleasantries and surface-level small talk. Elena reaches into her purse with trembling fingers for the manila envelope that's been burning a hole in her consciousness. "I met with Davidson, Klein and Associates on Tuesday. The divorce papers land between the anniversary roses, 12. Perfect red blooms, one for each year, and their untouched chocolate anniversary cake like a death certificate for their marriage." Jake's mind reels through the past week, searching for signs he should have caught. The way Elena started leaving for work 15 minutes earlier. How she'd taken 3 mysterious phone calls, stepping outside to their garden each time. The evenings she spent reorganizing closets, something she only did when stressed beyond measure. Her sudden interest in yoga classes she'd never mentioned attending. All the red flags he'd trained hundreds of couples to recognize, completely invisible in his own home. 3 days ago, Dr. Sarah Chen received Elena's desperate voicemail at 11:47 p.m. Sarah trained Jake 15 years ago during his doctoral program. At Portland State, watched him evolve from an emotionally guarded graduate student into the city's go-to marriage savior. Now she's standing on their colonial revival front porch at 7:43 p.m., holding a bottle of 2018 Willamette Valley Pinot Noir and wearing the exact expression that once terrified Jake during his dissertation defense when she challenged every assumption he'd made about human connection. "Elena called me," she announces, brushing past Jake's stunned frame. "We're having an intervention. Tonight. Right now." Dr. Sarah Chen isn't just any therapist wandering into their crisis. She's the absolute legend who revolutionized couples therapy in the Pacific Northwest, maintained an unprecedented 97% success rate over 23 years of practice, and currently has a 2-year waiting list of celebrities, tech executives, and Fortune 500 CEOs desperate for her expertise. She's also the woman who predicted this exact moment when Jake was 26 and terrified of emotional intimacy, hiding behind textbooks and clinical theories. "You'll be an exceptional therapist," she'd warned him during a late-night lab session, "until the day you desperately need therapy yourself. That's when your real education begins." Elena appears from their granite-countered kitchen, eyes red and swollen but jaw set with newfound determination. "I asked her to come, Jake. I couldn't do this alone anymore." Sarah doesn't waste time with pleasantries or gentle warm-ups. She drags 2 identical beige fabric chairs from their dining room to the exact center of their living room, positioning them face to face like a boxing ring 6 feet apart, close enough for intimate conversation, far enough to prevent flight responses. Both of you, sit, look directly at each other. Tell me, when did you last make meaningful eye contact for more than 3 consecutive seconds? Jake feels completely naked and exposed, his 15 years of professional armor cracking down the middle like ice on a frozen lake. Sarah, we don't. I need some dramatic... Jake. Her voice carries the full weight of 15 years watching him hide from authentic vulnerability behind professional competence and therapeutic jargon. You built an entire career teaching couples that secrets and emotional withholding poison relationships, slowly and systematically. I taught you that fundamental principle in graduate psychology 640. So tell me right now, what secret are you keeping from Elena that's slowly killing your marriage? The question hits like a surgical scalpel, finding the exact spot where his confidence meets his terror. His hands shake visibly. The marriage whisperer who built his reputation on fearless emotional excavation has completely lost his voice when it matters most. Make sure to hit that notification bell, because what happens next will absolutely shatter everything you think you know about saving a relationship, standing on the brink of total destruction. Sarah pulls out her worn leather portfolio, expensive Mont Blanc pen moving with surgical precision across yellow legal paper. Your marriage isn't broken beyond repair, she states matter-of-factly, drawing what looks suspiciously like a binding legal contract. It's a beautiful house where you're both living in completely separate rooms, absolutely terrified to knock on each other's doors because you might discover the other person has already moved out emotionally. If you're both willing to be genuinely terrified together, and I mean wake up in cold sweats, lose sleep, question everything you believe about yourselves, terrified, I have something that might save your family, but it requires complete emotional transparency on a rigid schedule, with consequences for failure. She's creating something that looks exactly like a business agreement, complete with terms and conditions. I call it a Truth Pact, and it saved 17 marriages in the past 2 years when traditional therapy completely failed. Jake stands abruptly, panic rising in his chest like floodwater. We're not signing some experimental, sit down. Now, Sarah's authority is absolutely non-negotiable, honed through decades of interventions with couples who thought they were beyond saving. Elena, show him the papers you've been carrying. Elena's hand trembles violently as she places the official dissolution documents on their coffee table next to Sarah's emerging contract. Jake, you have exactly one choice right now. Keep hiding from Elena behind your professional persona and lose her forever within 60 days, or do something that feels like complete emotional suicide but might actually save your daughter's family and your marriage. The Truth Pact contract emerging under Sarah's pen is deceptively simple but absolutely terrifying in its implications. 6 months duration. Every Sunday evening, 7 p.m. sharp. One completely unfiltered truth, each person. 0. Judgment permitted for 24 hours minimum. No problem solving allowed. No fixing attempts, no therapeutic interpretations. Just pure witnessing of authentic truth. Sarah sets down her pen with finality. Here's what I know about both of you after 15 years of observation. Jake, you're absolutely terrified that Elena will see your fear and vulnerability and conclude you're weak, unreliable, not the strong provider and protector she married. You've confused emotional strength with complete invulnerability. Elena, you believe that if you show Jake your loneliness, your needs, your moments of feeling lost, he'll see it as personal failure and withdraw even further. You've confused being supportive with being invisible. Both psychological arrows hit their targets with devastating accuracy. You're literally protecting each other to death, Sarah continues, her voice cutting through years of accumulated defenses. Jake, your real strength isn't having no fears. It's trusting Elena with your deepest fears. Elena, your loneliness isn't Jake's failure to fix. It's your invitation for him to join you in the hard places instead of trying to solve them. The contract sits between them on the coffee table like a peace treaty after years of Cold War. Neither acknowledged they were fighting. What if it doesn't work? Elena whispers, her voice barely audible. Then you divorce in 6 months knowing you tried absolutely everything possible, Sarah replies without hesitation. But what if it saves your family and teaches your daughters what real love actually looks like? Sunday evening, 7 p.m. sharp, week 1 of their Truth Pact experiment. They sit facing each other like contestants in a game show where the ultimate prize is their marriage and their daughter's intact family. Jake goes first, clearing his throat like he's about to deliver a presentation. I'm genuinely worried about our mortgage refinancing situation. Interest rates are rising faster than anticipated, and with your promotion timeline uncertain after the corporate restructuring, Elena stands abruptly, her chair scraping against their hardwood floors. Stop. Just stop right there, Jake. That's not truth. That's logistics dressed up as vulnerability with a therapy bow on top. Truth is what terrifies you at 3 a.m. when you can't sleep. Truth is what you think about me that you'd never say out loud. Truth is admitting something that might change how I see you forever. She walks out of the living room, leaving Jake alone with the contract and his cowardice. 3 days of separate bedrooms follow, their house feeling like a funeral home. Here's where most couples quit entirely, where discomfort wins decisively over connection, where the fear of emotional exposure trumps the hope of intimacy. But Jake and Elena's story proves that sometimes you have to break completely wrong before you can heal right. Week 2 arrives with Elena sharing that she's faked, enjoying his mother's traditional Sunday dinners for 12 consecutive years. Jake gets immediately defensive, launching into psychological analysis of her people-pleasing tendencies instead of simply receiving her truth. Another spectacular failure, another night sleeping apart in their own home. Week 3 changes absolutely everything. Your mother's pot roast tastes like seasoned cardboard, and her green bean casserole could be used as industrial adhesive, Elena admits, then holds her breath for the explosion. Instead of anger or hurt, Jake erupts in genuine laughter, the first authentic emotion he's expressed in 8 months. Oh my God, I know, I've been choking down that dry as dust pot roast for 15 years, pretending it's delicious. And don't even get me started on her famous cornbread that could double as a doorstop. They laugh until tears stream down their faces, the first genuinely shared moment since Elena's promotion celebration 6 months ago. The bridge back to honesty, shared recognition of absurd truth they'd both been protecting each other from. For the first time in their Truth Pact journey, they sleep in the same bed, though they don't touch. Week 4 unveils the deeper psychological layer lurking beneath surface complaints. Jake's fear isn't really about Elena's judgment, it's about his father's toxic legacy. I watched Dad never tell Mum he was scared, never admit when he felt lost or overwhelmed, Jake confesses, his voice breaking for the first time in their marriage. She died thinking he didn't need her, that he was completely self-sufficient. I swore I'd never do that to you, but I've been doing exactly that, just with therapy vocabulary and emotional intelligence buzzwords coating the same basic withholding. His voice completely breaks. 15 years of buried pain finally surfacing. Elena reaches across the space between their chairs, not to fix or comfort, but simply to witness his truth without trying to make it better. Week 5 brings Elena's devastating confession about her evening walks that Jake never questioned. I leave the house every Tuesday and Thursday because I need somewhere to go. I drive to the Starbucks on Hawthorne and sit in my car for an hour practicing conversations in my head, trying to think of something interesting or important enough to say to my own husband when I get home. The revelation that they're both strangers performing the role of married couple in their own homelands like a physical blow. Week 6 delivers unexpected comedy gold that becomes a turning point. Jake admits to secretly Googling conversation starters for married couples the previous Wednesday at 2 a.m. Elena immediately shows him the exact same article bookmarked on her phone, plus 3 others. How to reconnect with your spouse. Signs. Your marriage is worth saving, and discussion topics for couples who've lost their spark. They spend an entire hour reading the ridiculous questions aloud, realizing they don't know each other's current fears, dreams, hopes, or even basic preferences anymore. Week 7 forces the ultimate choice point. Elena reveals her deepest secret. 6 months of individual therapy with Dr. Rodriguez at the Portland Psychology Center. Not therapy to prepare for leaving Jake, but therapy because she felt fundamentally unworthy of fighting for their marriage. Dr. Rodriguez keeps asking what I actually want from you, and I finally figured it out. I want you to fight for me. I want you to see me struggling and stay with me in the struggle. Not immediately try to fix me or solve my problems or make me feel better. I want you to witness my hard places. Jake grips his chair arms until his knuckles turn completely white. I'm committing to the full 6 months right now. No matter what we discover about ourselves, no matter how uncomfortable it gets, no matter what truths come out, we're doing this. They shake hands across the space between their chairs like warriors entering battle together, knowing they might not both survive emotionally intact. Week 8 delivers the golden moment that rewrites their entire marriage story. Jake prepares to share his deepest fear about financial security when Elena stops him with raised hand. I need to say something first, and if I don't say it right now, I'll lose my courage again. This becomes the moment that changes everything they thought they knew about their relationship. I've been in individual therapy for 6 months, Jake. Not to prepare to leave you, but because I thought if I could become less needy, less emotionally complicated, less demanding of your time and attention, maybe you'd actually want to be married. To me again, instead of just coexisting in the same house like polite roommates who happen to share a mortgage and children. The revelation explodes every assumption they've made about their marriage crisis. I thought you'd completely given up on us, Jake whispers, his worldview shifting fundamentally. I thought you'd given up on me as a person worth fighting for. Elena replies, tears streaming. They've been desperately trying to solve completely wrong problems for years. The quotable wisdom that emerges organically. We've been so busy protecting each other from pain that we forgot how to share joy. The truth equation crystallizes during week 9. Vulnerability, plus timing, plus safety, intimacy. The universal principle becomes crystal clear. Relationships don't fail because of fundamental incompatibility. They fail from lack of courage to be completely known. The contrarian insight that revolutionizes their thinking. The strongest marriages aren't built on never hurting each other, but on choosing to heal together repeatedly. Elena's before and after clarity emerges. I thought loving you meant not burdening you with my emotional struggles. Now I realize that sharing my burdens is how I love you. It's inviting you into my inner world instead of performing happiness for your comfort. Jake's parallel realization. I thought protecting you from my fears and uncertainties made me a good husband. I was actually being a well-intentioned stranger. That night they sleep facing each other for the first time in 18 months, hands almost touching across the space between them. The real-world stress test arrives during week 12 when Jake's professional reputation faces serious threat. His biggest clients, the Washingtons, married 23 years with 3 teenage children, threatened to leave his practice after a disastrous session where Jake completely shut down emotionally when they asked about his own marriage. Instead of maintaining professional detachment and deflecting personal questions, Jake makes a radical choice. He shares his Truth Pact journey, admitting his near divorce and ongoing struggle with vulnerability. I spent 15 years teaching communication principles while my wife and I became complete strangers living in the same house. Sometimes the best teachers are the ones humble enough to become students again. The specific behavioral changes they implement are revolutionary in their elegant simplicity. Elena begins sharing daily emotional weather reports. I'm 30% anxious about Sophie's college preparation timeline, 20% excited about the promotion possibilities, opening up, and 50% grateful for last night's honest conversation about money stress. Jake introduces his transformational daily question. What do you need to tell me today that you're afraid to say? Their new assumption check protocol. Whenever feeling hurt or confused, asking, what story am I telling myself about this situation? Before reacting from triggered emotions. The measurable results are dramatic. Daily word count jumps from 47 to 847 words of genuine conversation. Monthly meaningful conversations increase from 2 to 8 weekly. But unexpected challenges emerge when Elena reveals a significant Seattle promotion offer with a 40% salary increase, and Jake admits to considering a lucrative Denver partnership opportunity. Instead of creating conflict and competing priorities, these become collaboration opportunities. How do we navigate these decisions together instead of making separate choices that affect both of us? Share in the comments below. What's one truth you've been afraid to tell someone you love? And what do you think would actually happen if you found the courage to speak it? The ripple effects transform every aspect of their lives. Jake's therapy practice evolves into structured vulnerability training, with a 12-month waiting list and referrals from 3 major Portland hospitals. Elena's leadership style becomes authentically transparent, leading team meetings with emotional check-ins that result in record engagement scores and a 22% increase in team productivity. Their daughters notice the transformation immediately and dramatically. Week 15, Mia tells her best friend over FaceTime, "My parents are actually married now instead of just living together. They look at each other during dinner instead of staring at their phones, and they ask us real questions about our lives." Sophie approaches Elena with curiosity. "Why do you and Dad keep smiling at each other when you think we're not looking? It's weird, but also kind of nice." The ultimate sustainability test arrives during month 4, when crisis simultaneously hits multiple fronts. Jake's 74-year-old father receives an early-stage Alzheimer's diagnosis the exact same week Elena's mother breaks her hip in a Portland parking lot, requiring extensive rehabilitation. Instead of handling these stresses separately and protecting each other from additional burdens, they use their Truth Sunday format to navigate the crisis together as a genuine team. They share aging parent fears openly, discuss financial implications honestly, and divide caregiving responsibilities based on actual preferences rather than gender assumptions or martyrdom patterns. 6 months later, they continue their Truth Sunday ritual voluntarily, expanding it to include their daughters when age-appropriate topics arise. "It's not just about saving our marriage anymore," Elena observes during their 24th Truth Sunday. "It's teaching us how to actually be married instead of performing marriage for outside observers." 1 year after their near-divorce crisis, Jake and Elena co-facilitate Truth Pact workshops at the Portland Community Center, a monthly series that has grown from word-of-mouth curiosity into a genuine movement, with participants driving from Seattle, Vancouver, and San Francisco. Jake's therapy practice has evolved beyond traditional couples counseling into something entirely revolutionary. His keynote presentation at the American Association for Marriage and Family Therapy, "When Therapists Need Therapy, Breaking Professional Invulnerability in Clinical Practice," sparks industry-wide debates about therapist self-disclosure and authenticity. His book proposal, The Truth Pact: Structured Vulnerability for Lasting Love, receives a 6-figure advance with pre-sales exceeding 50,000 copies. Elena negotiates a Portland-based remote senior marketing director position, maintaining her career trajectory while increasing her salary 22% through confident advocacy for her value. Her newfound skill in asking directly for what she needs transfers seamlessly from marriage to career advancement. Their daughters continue thriving academically and emotionally. Mia earns Stanford early admission, with a personal essay about watching her parents choose love over comfort repeatedly, while Sophie starts a peer counseling group at Roosevelt High School based on communication principles she's observed transforming her family. The teaching moments emerge naturally from their authentic experience. Jake tells workshop participants, "The fundamental question isn't whether you love each other. It's whether you're brave enough to let each other see who you really are when you're scared, confused, or struggling." Elena adds her perspective. "Love isn't finding someone you never have to be vulnerable with. It's finding someone you can be vulnerable with safely, repeatedly, without them trying to fix you or make your feelings go away." The 3 universal insights from their complete transformation. First, the vulnerability paradox. Protecting someone from your authentic truth actually disconnects you from them systematically. Hiding your struggles isn't kindness. It's denying your partner the chance to love you completely. Second, the assumption trap. We assume we know what our partners need instead of asking what they're afraid to tell us. Years of marriage can teach anticipation of surface needs while completely missing deeper emotional realities. Third, the intimacy equation. Structured honesty creates deeper connection than spontaneous sharing because it provides safety and predictability for emotional risk-taking. The central metaphor reaches its final evolution. Marriage isn't about living in separate rooms of the same house. It's learning to dance together where you take turns leading, but never let go of each other's hands, even when the music changes tempo unexpectedly. Full circle transformation, they return to the exact same dining room where Elena whispered, "I want a divorce," 12 months earlier. Now it hosts their Truth Sundays where they light candles and share what scares them most that week. The space that witnessed near destruction has become the sanctuary of intentional rebuilding. The legacy impact extends far beyond their personal marriage restoration. Truth Pact methodology is now taught in Jake's graduate program at Portland State University. Elena's viral blog post about their experience reaches 3 million readers internationally, inspiring thousands of couples to try structured vulnerability. Dr. Sarah Chen incorporates their case study into her research on optimal intervention timing. Most remarkably, the divorce attorney who prepared Elena's original dissolution papers reports a 15% decrease in her caseload after the Truth Pact workshop series begins influencing the Portland community. But the most meaningful legacy remains deeply personal. Month 18 brings neighbor Sarah Martinez knocking on their door. Recently divorced single mother of 2, carefully maintained privacy suddenly cracking open. "Watching your transformation through my kitchen window gives me hope I didn't know I still had," she admits, fidgeting with the wedding ring she still wears on her right hand. "I'm dating someone new, absolutely terrified of repeating the same patterns that destroyed my marriage. Could we have coffee sometime? Not therapy, just human-to-human conversation about how you learn to be brave with each other." The organic call to action emerges from authentic experience. Find someone you love right now. Ask them this exact question. "What do you need to tell me that you're afraid to say?" Then listen. Really listen with your whole body and attention. Don't fix, don't solve, don't make it better, don't offer advice. Just witness their truth completely. Your relationship might literally depend on it. Jake looks at Elena across their living room, where 2 chairs still face each other every Sunday evening. Sacred space where they practice worshipping honesty and being fully known. 12 years of marriage, 2 years standing on the edge of divorce, 1 year of deliberate vulnerability has taught them something genuinely revolutionary. Love isn't about finding your perfect soulmate or never having to work at relationship maintenance. It's about creating safe spaces where the unknown parts of yourselves can emerge without immediate judgment, where you can be witnessed in your fear and chosen anyway, where you witness your partner's deepest struggles and choose them anyway, repeatedly and intentionally. Sometimes the most intimate thing you can possibly do isn't touch someone's body. It's touch their truth with your presence and stay connected while they reveal who they really are underneath all their protective strategies and social performances.